So on our schedule of things that we're supposed to be accomplishing today, we talked to our two final candidates of the four that we had on the slate. We talked to two yesterday. The plan for today was to have some open dialogue about our thoughts on each of the four candidates and to make a decision about how we wanted to move forward or with who we wanted to move forward with regards to the next steps, which are the community forums that we scheduled. And I'm exhausted. I don't know how we do it. Any opening thoughts?
Came in yesterday afternoon fully intent on being prepared to hit the pause button on the search. I think based on three things. First being the chaos of the last 11 days, including the vote to rescind the interim appointment. I think the second thing, the questions and concerns we've been hearing from the community about the quality and the integrity of the search. And third, just kind of the due diligence or lack thereof that we've had around at least one candidate. However, after sitting through 6 hours of interviews yesterday and today, I do think we've drawn some quality candidates despite ourselves, maybe not because of ourselves. And based on that, I think we owe it to go ahead and introduce these educators to Nashville and the rest of the community. And I'm not saying we shouldn't stop the search, but I think the rest of the city deserves to be exposed to what we've been exposed to over the last day and a half. So that's kind of where I've landed. I think if we get through these community forums, and we're still getting a lot of pushback. I mean, we're getting a lot of heat right now, as we know, that we're still getting that, but I think maybe we need to stop and think about it at that point. But I think if you get people want to proceed for the next few days.
To echo a few of Mr. Cranston's, I was also in favor of slowing down this process and delaying the vote for a new search. I'm not sure at what point we need to do that. I think that we should probably go ahead and introduce them to the community and at least have that input for the community through the forum process. And at that point in time, if we get the same pushback that we have been getting, I think maybe we need to hit the pause button and perhaps pump the brakes a little bit and take a deep breath, because it's not about meeting a deadline. It's about making the right decision. And I've said it all summer long, and I'll say it again, we've got to get this right. There's no way we can get this decision wrong, because we won't be the losers, our kids will be the losers. And that is unacceptable to me. I've heard from many of my own constituents, as well as your constituents, that they are asking us, begging us to take a moment to have a discussion, to take a deep breath, and maybe stop for a few days, a month, or whatever, and maybe get some other candidates. I would love to see the top 10 interviews that the firm did, just so we can see if there's someone else we want to invite to the table to have an interview with us. This is Nashville, and I think that we need a top-notch director of schools, and I think that we may have one in one of the people that came to interview with us today, but I'm not thoroughly convinced that we do, not yet. So we have an interim in place, so we don't have to, go at rocket neck speed to make this decision. I think more importantly, we need to get it right, not meet the deadline. That's just my personal opinion.
Are you in favor of going forward with the community forum?
Yeah. And then at that point, maybe when, what is it, the 16th, we come back together to have another discussion. Maybe that's where we can talk about it.
And I think we owe it to the people in the community who have made arrangements to attend these forums to be able to, and the schools, that's correct. I'm in favor of moving forward as well.
And I've heard from people as well that were skeptical on Monday, and then realizing that we were making some possibly premature judgments based on paper, and that the last 2 days of the meeting have given us that courage to go ahead and move forward and just keep with the process, and again, we have more permission to reevaluate what we do at that point.
I'm just going to agree with everybody. I think that's the right thing to do. We can move forward to the next steps and then regroup next week. But I do think it's really important. We've had just a huge variety of people ask us to slow down the search. From INS to the chamber, to mayoral candidates, to council members. And I think it's really important that we have community buy-in on this process. It's, to me, much more about the process. So there are no ulterior motives on my part, at least, to get in a certain candidate or take out a certain candidate. I just think we've got some good folks that we've heard from, and I think the community deserves to hear from them as well. But then I think we need to respect and honor the requests that we've gotten from all these important groups that will be working with us and our new superintendent. So I think it's important that we acknowledge that request and respect that request. And, perhaps things will change by next week, but if not, we can hit the pause button and figure out next steps.
I would just like to say that I do support it moving forward, but I would also like to say that throughout this process, we sat down and we had a retreat a couple months ago, and we developed a plan, and our plan was to move forward and keep moving, and thus far we actually stayed close. We stuck close to our plan, and my hopes is that we don't allow the community to keep us rattled, because at some point we need to step up as the actual leaders. We are the leaders of this board of Metro. So I'm in favor of moving forward at this point.
I was also going to say, I think one good thing that came out of chaos last few weeks is that we had a unanimous vote. And I think we're all comfortable in leading us, so I feel like we're in a good position. If we need to pause, I think all of us agree we're in good hands. So, and maybe we don't, ultimately, maybe it's a short pause, but.
I think one sports analogy, I think we might have to think about calling one audible on the field next week. And given the fact that we've got a couple of candidates who are essentially local already, and then given the fact that there's another candidate who is Nashville may create less need to kind of move towards the city, and maybe we use that time to do some really high-touch engagement with the mayoral candidates to kind of get their perspective. I think that's just one idea. One of the others.
So, yay. Okay, get that out of the way. Yay. So here's my sort of, all these bricks that have been laid here are good. I'm going to put some grout in the middle. And some of it has been said. That I want to be sure that we have the same sort of stick-to-itiveness. I don't want to say stick-to-itiveness. Let's say boldness that we've had in the past over some other. These aren't the loudest voices we've heard. These aren't even the most, no offense to anybody, most influential or powerful voices we've heard pushing back against something that we've wanted to do. And we've never backed down from our responsibility. Just want to make sure that what we are saying is that we're still ultimately responsible for making, owning, supporting, and then doing what we have to do to ensure that that person who sits in that seat, whether it's determined on the 16th, the 23rd, or the 1st of 2 months from now, gets the support that they need. We've got to be, that goes back to that bold, cohesive positioning, right? That whoever is selected is still going to need our support. And so, it's like, if you're going to find a crack, let us not allow the crack to be here, okay? The other thing that I would challenge us to start to think through, and although I understand technically I want to see further down the list, fundamentally that just doesn't feel right. Why go deeper into the pool to find the right candidate that's numbered 6 through 20 or 6 through 15? Just doesn't, I understand the thought, broaden the pool. Technically, I don't know if that's the process to do that. And so if on the 16th, this board decides that whatever has come out of that additional level of exposure, that additional level of engagement, is still not sitting well, and we want to do something else, we need to take some time in the interim individually, so when we come back, to be specific about what changes. And that's been my response to everybody who's come to me or called me to say, I think you all need to stop the search and start over. The question becomes, what changes? And if nothing changes, if those things that we believe have fundamentally compromised the search or impacted the search or caused there to be some discomfort with the search, if none of those factors change, how can the outcome be any different? And so we have to be honest about what we believe those factors are that may have caused there to be some discord, and we've got to make sure that all of those things get addressed, from ethics complaints or open meetings requests and all the other things that we have still outstanding that we need to work through. We need to make sure all of that table gets cleaned off, so that if we are going to do a restart, it fundamentally looks different. Something has to change. A lot has to change for the outcome to be any different. I'm not sold on the fact that, a lot of the comments that I've gotten brings with it the assumption that the 4 we received were actually the top 4. We could have gotten 4 through 8. We could have lost 1 through 4, or 5 through 8, and we could have lost 1 through 4. I don't know that. But we can't assume that changing nothing is going to cause 4 people who were better than the 4 we've already seen to just throw their names back in the hat, unless something fundamentally changes. I do appreciate the opportunity to get some additional community feedback. I think I have a different perspective on several of these from what I saw on paper. Hearing them talk and hearing them answer the hard questions, and you guys did a great job, thank you so much for that, in challenging and asking the questions that you all pulled together. And I think that maybe there'll be an even broader perspective and a broader insight and envisioning of what their abilities and what they can bring to Nashville. Not to say that we're going to find the golden goose, but I appreciate the willingness to at least allow the process as defined to do what it was meant to do. Get us to the point where we're ready to make a decision, either of what we have or to be able to definitively say, because we've turned it 3 different ways, it's not here. So, there are no other thoughts on that? Yes.
May I add something? Early on, when I looked at the list, I was really disappointed, and part of it is our number 5 on our desired characteristics of our candidates was to find people who have experience running a large urban district like ours. However, now that I have listened to the candidates, I would say now that I think that the 9 of us could come together at least one. And I really hadn't thought that was possible. But I can see that possibility now. So I feel very good about moving forward with that as a candidate.
Okay, so next we go through and talk about each one individually.
Well, yes,
We've got 3 hours on paper. Don't take it personal. Don't take it seriously. Come on.
no, we won't take that. I do want to congratulate you all for conducting the
I got to say this again. You guys did a great job. Trust me, I've been praying really, really hard, really, really nervous. Thank you so much. You guys gave attention and focus, and it was intentional and very deliberate. And Kobe, Amy has burned a hole in that little stand-up pad right there, taking notes. Thank you so much. I think that each of the candidates felt that they had our full attention, and that we were committed to this process and committed to doing it well, and I thank you all for that.
And I do want to piggyback on what Sharon said and congratulate you. I'm sure some of you saw that we went out right after Andrea left, right after John left today, because we did talk to Angela. We did talk to the 2 candidates yesterday. We talked to the 2 candidates today, and all 4 of them enjoyed their interviews, and all 4 of them are interested in coming back if you should ask them. So from their perspective, I would have to say congratulations. did just want to make one comment. I know that we've been meeting the press out here, and as consultants, we've been criticized. And I want you to know that at times we don't make the best judgment and use the best discretion. About 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago, 50 years ago, the gentleman to my right said, "I do." To this day.
He means his left, because your other right.
Oh, my left. This is Peter's 50th wedding anniversary. And so, congratulations.
Get you. I hope the diamond is big.
And she's got it about now.
Okay, all right now.
And I think she is filing the divorce papers right now. Congratulations. You know, I just want to make a couple comments, and I didn't think they were appropriate to make them until you saw the candidates, because I personally, and I'll speak just for myself, feel that you did see the 4 best candidates on the criteria you had developed for the position. But if you recall, when we were here on February 2nd and 3rd, met with each of you, I made a commitment, Diana and I made a commitment, we would met with each of you. I don't know if we said it this way to every one of you, but we told you we were not going to bring you cookie cutters. We were going to bring you people that met your criteria, but very different people. And if you saw all 6 of the people we were considering, you would see that they also were quite different from what you said. So I think it's important when you look at the scope. I don't think you wanted to see 4 reflections of each other. I think you wanted to see some different people so you could make a conscious decision. And that's what we tried to do. We took your criteria, and you know your criteria was quite broad and at times a little conflicted, reflecting personal opinions, and we respected them. We tried to bring you candidates that met almost all the criteria, but that they had different perspectives so that you would have an opportunity to take a look. Somebody said this worked, but apparently it doesn't. To take a look at people who were different, but also had the characteristics, experience, and desire to be your next superintendent. If there's any disappointment I've had up until now, it's that the candidates were prejudged in the press before you had an opportunity to meet them. And there's no way to get around that. That's not your fault. That's no one else's fault. It's the fault of the laws of Tennessee. And, you know, pick up on Sharon's comment, what has to change? The biggest deterrent to finding candidates that were significantly different than the ones you saw would be the opportunity to meet with you in closed session and be able to dialogue with you extensively in closed session. You can't control that. And so I think we have to, you know, put the deterrence as well as the attractive elements on the table. But the number one deterrent we had as a search firm, and it's not just in Nashville, this is true of any state where you have an open meeting law, your top candidates, the people who we would look upon as top candidates, are not going to take the risk, most of them are not going to take the risk of their job unless they know that they've talked through with their current employer, as has happened with some of the people you saw, and it's okay with the current employer that they go public. That is not the case in most situations. If any of you are employed, you know what would happen if it became public, that you went out to seek another job and wanted to come back contrite and say, I didn't get the job, but I still want to be your superintendent or whatever role is. So that is your biggest deterrent. I just wanted to put that on the table. I said it right up front, again, when I met with you on February 2nd, that would be the biggest deterrent in recruitment. We are pleased with the quality candidates we recruited, both the people you saw and the people you didn't see. We feel that we did see some very good people, but we do feel, collectively the 3 of us, that you saw the 4 best people that currently are available to you. With that being said, the thing that we want to do right now is to determine which of the candidates you would like to bring back. Normally, boards bring back 3. Occasionally, they bring back 2. Occasionally, they bring back 4. And that would be up to this board. Generally speaking, and again, if we were in closed session, which we aren't, we would ask each of you to put on a piece of paper if there were any candidates that you felt did not meet the criteria you were looking for and did not feel that the majority of the board would support. We could do that initially publicly, or we can go around and talk about each of the candidates first. And I would leave that to your pleasure. If you would prefer to move, if you feel that there are one or more of the candidates that you feel that from your dialogue at the meeting, and you were closer, we came and saw part of one and the other one, so we did see 1.5 of your interviews. If you feel you would like to take someone off the table before you discuss all of them, that is your prerogative. Which way would you prefer to proceed?
Can we just do like that real easy? All 4 back, yes or no?
No.
Okay, now start from the top of the list and work our way down. Let's see,
Okay.
if we can get a majority yes, no, would that be sufficient?
Okay, well, that would be, let's go in the order that you saw the candidates. How many, and I'm not going to say definitely bring back, how many of you would like to dialogue more about? And your first one is Barry Shepherd. How many of you would like to dialogue more about Barry Shepherd and give consideration to bringing him back? If you'd put your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the majority. Your second one was Mike Looney, Dr. Looney. How many would like to discuss him further about bringing him back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, majority. How many would like to see Angela Huff and bring her back? Okay. How many would like to talk about John Covington, Dr. Covington, and bring him back? Okay, what I'm seeing is that the three coming back. Now, in all fairness, the way we normally do it, Thais, you're the only one. No, that's okay. But I did no, Thais, that's fine. No, we always like to give. Would you like to say something that might convince others to support you? And if that's the case, we'll ask again. And if the majority say yes, you'll see him, or talk about him. If they say no. But I think the minority also always should have an opportunity to express his or her opinion.
Of all the candidates, we can all, I'm sure, agree that he was the one that was most attacked viciously by the press. And not only was the community formed an impression about this man, I feel, only, but I think we did as well. And he also had to come in explaining himself. I don't feel that he was given a fair chance. On paper, he appeared to be the stronger candidate, in my opinion, just based upon his qualifications and his experiences. Outside of that, just hearing some of the work that he's done, I was very impressed with the movements and the academic achievement gains that he's made. However, I do feel that it is most important that we as a board are in consensus for the decisions that we make for our children, but I just don't feel that he got a fair chance, and so I still feel that I would love to see him back. And I would love for the community to have an opportunity to speak with him and just give him a fair chance.
Thank you, Thais. Does anybody else want to speak before we ask the question again? How many would like to discuss Dr. Covington further? Okay. So let's talk about the other three. From the perspective of what you've observed that you feel they can bring to Nashville to take this district to the level of performance and expectations that you have. Would anybody like to make a comment, or would you prefer to defer that discussion until you bring them back? I mean, you've got 3 candidates. Let me maybe raise the question another way. Do the majority of you feel comfortable in bringing those 3 candidates back without further dialogue, or would you rather talk about them? That's what I would rather maybe that's a better way to mention it.
Personally, I would like to see their performance, with our elected officials and with our communities and at the forums and everything. So we can, that's another way that we can, make a decision on their, the fit that they could have in this district. So I really would think that we owe it to them as candidates to wait to have a discussion after we see the entire picture. That's my personal opinion.
Is that the feeling of the majority, Joanne?
And as they spoke, I jotted down questions that we had not asked, and I would like you to do that next week.
Right. Let me share with you, your next interview is not scripted. That's an opportunity to delve into areas in greater depth. We sat through some, and I told you, you're never going to dig as deeply in any of those areas that you were asking questions about in the short time you had. This would be the opportunity to dig as deep as you want, but also to relate it to Nashville and the issues that you feel comfortable talking about in public session with the candidates relative to Nashville. So it's not scripted. It's to give all of you an opportunity to talk about the things that you feel are important to you. So, Joanne, I'm glad to hear that you did. You take a lot of notes, and I hope you all have questions and are prepared for that. Do you feel comfortable just going ahead without further dialogue? Then I take it, Joanne.
I do.
Well, let's just take a show of hands. How many of you feel comfortable proceeding to the next level, which would be bringing the candidates back without further dialogue? Okay, so we do have the three candidates. Peter, if I'm not mistaken, you have talked with the board what the next level of interviews looks like, the day looks like, right?
Yeah, we already
Although
have
the
that
board-
scheduled.
the
Yeah, we
board
already have
had
the agenda.
scheduled,
But so,
we have that.
yeah, so,
Okay.
some people are about to come out of this game. We've just been in this room a long, long time. I apologize. I feel like we didn't leave. I really do. I feel like we did not go home, and we just, I blinked and we all changed clothes. But I do want to, out of respect to my fellow board member, Ms. Hunter, explain my position on Mr. Hubbard. Because somebody else is going to ask me, Michael, tell you first. So one of the things that's been said a couple of times around this table is fit. And that was, and I'll be honest, it wasn't about the things that were accomplished, whether they were big or small, or whether they were great. I did not feel a fit with Nashville. I felt that as I spoke earlier about being able to be a board that supports our next director of schools, the work and the dialogue would be so far removed from students and so far removed from education and so far removed from change and levers of change and the things that we need to do, and so still focused on a lot of noise. And we talked here about wanting to quiet the chatter and wanting to quiet the discord. And, we talked about with respect to the feedback, it helps to have a discerning ear. And you can hear that, I just don't know if these can do it versus what's going to come along with that person. And that's not where I want to spend my energy. And that's not where I want this board to spend its energy. Trying to, having to fight that while we're trying to fight for our children. I think the other candidates come with enough of the ability to fit in with the community, fit in with the leadership, fit in with whoever the mayor, and build those relationships and have that relationship be built on something real and significant, to then have partnerships to focus on what we need to be spending our energy on. So that was my reason for saying that if there's going to be a cutoff, that's what I would have. You had elected your leader.
So actually, I do have one question. I'm excited about bringing the three in. It sounds like we're all unanimous on that. One thought though, just to, because this has come up a bit, and I've done a lot of time in my lifetime, it seems exceedingly important though to make sure we have done as thorough a vetting process behind the scenes as humanly possible. I don't think we should necessarily, I'm not saying that.
I got a private investigator.
I mean, part of me does want to say, even before we make this decision about the public forums, let's make sure we vet it thoroughly, we understand all the backstory, we vetted every single recommendation, we very much know these candidates, that whatever what can be known is known. But that seems also impractical, so I'm still excited. But I just want to make sure we're moving both things in tandem, even as we meet them, that we're continuing the vetting process and not assuming anything.
And the vetting process is going to continue. So, when you get together next week, if you decide that you're going to hire Peter Flynn as your superintendent, we're going to encourage you to call some of those references. I know we were criticized for not calling every reference. We did not call every reference, and I think when I met with most of you, I told you that the references we rely on more diligently are the references that aren't in those papers. We've talked to people that weren't on those papers, on every one of them, before we brought them to you. Because those are the people that know them, as we say, in the locker room and in real life. And so a lot of times, people who they use are people who they know, and we want to get beyond what, their friends. Now, obviously, it appears that maybe on one of the candidates, there were some people that were not supported. But they were vetted, but we really would hope that if you decide to hire Peter Flynn, that you might pick half a dozen references and have your fellow directors, board members, call those references. And we also recommend very strongly on the remaining people that if you selected any of them, that 2 or 3 of you make a site visit to their district and eyeball teacher union leaders, board presidents, board members, parents, and talk about your expectations for Nashville and whether or not that person can fulfill those expectations. After next Friday, if you do pick someone, or whatever day it is, obviously you're fluid. We feel that the selection is based on 3 things. 1, successful, comprehensive investigation by a private investigating firm. And we do recommend that on anybody before you hire them. If you desire, we can do it on all 3. But it does cost anywhere from $800 to $1,500 per person. And in the package, that is your cost. And so we do recommend you keep your costs down. We were criticized for going to Subway for lunch and laughed at because we fly Southwest. But these are your dollars and they're tax dollars. And so we recommend you definitely do it before you hire. If you want to do it on all 3, we can get them started. The second, successful contract negotiations. And third, successful site visit / reference check. And we put those on your lap. We will help you with them. But we think that those are critical things before you hire. So, Lisa, I agree with you, but I think it's important for some of you to hear what people have told us about these people or talk to people we haven't talked to. But we will continue vetting them, I assure you. And if we find somebody that's someone that we feel is maybe you might be more interested in than what you see, we're going to make you aware of that, even though it may interrupt your process. We don't stop recruiting until you hire, just so you're aware.
To the point of a different kind of vetting, I really would like to know a lot more detail that we've been provided about the academic achievement, student growth histories in these home districts. I know a good deal about Langston County because it's right next door, but I feel like I have very little information about Cabarrus County, North Carolina, or Cobb County, Georgia. I know what the candidates have provided to you, that you've been provided to us, but there is an old saying, trust but verify, and I would really like to kind of have an independent x-ray, if you will, on in particular Cabarrus and Cobb. So I don't know, it's Friday, potentially talking to people again on Monday. I don't know what's possible over the weekend, but do you have any reaction to that?
Well, the only thing we could do during the weekend, we have, explored their websites up to a degree. I'm not sure how much of that information, a lot of that information is not on websites. With state report cards and all that, but I'll have to go back and see what we found on the websites. But finding anything over the weekend is going to be very difficult unless it's on the internet presently, because we won't be getting them tonight until probably 9 o'clock. So,
But we'll work on it. We'll work on it as soon as we leave here. We'll start working on that, continuing the vetting process. While we're waiting in the airport, we'll work on it.
I mean, we could use this analogy. I mean, if we're board of directors hire a CEO of a company, I think we want to know a lot about past performance 60 Reed's position, so it is important.
We'll be glad to do that.
So since we have the information we need on Dr. Young, you said you could get that.
I'm very familiar with this, but others might not be.
So perhaps, if possible, we could have him on Monday?
I think we talked
Oh, you
to
know,
all four
okay.
candidates.
But actually, he's Monday. We talked, we asked them a few questions following their interviews. We asked them how did it go, what were their surprises, and are you still interested, and if you were called back, what day can you come? And it just so happens that days they can come would be Dr. Looney on Monday, Angela on Tuesday, and Barry on Wednesday. So it just so happens that that's the days in which they could come. So it works out.
Is there any other information other than the test data? You see, we brought it up. Is there other board members? Are there any other specific information that you feel you would want to have?
Of the 12 items that we requested earlier, to me, the most important one is our academic proficiency, student growth, and anything that speaks to turnaround. So I want to know where the numbers are absolutely, but also want to know what the trend line looks like.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to share with us?
So I think consensus is pretty clear, but if y'all can just make a motion for the three.
Yes.
Board.
I'm happy to do that.
Just to make sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we bring back for further consideration Dr. Barry Shepherd, Dr. Mike Looney, and Dr. Angela Huff for consideration for our director of school position.
Second. Motion's been made and properly second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much. Thank you.
And again, thank you very much for moving along on the journey. We
Thank you.
continue to enjoy working with you, despite the bumps we all run into. So have a good weekend.
All right, thank you.
What is the term? We have to.